I want to go all the way back to the beginning of the card of the pay-per-view portion, just to give these guys some respect, especially Charles Conwell.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people out there are familiar with Charles Conwell. Oh yeah, all the way back, because this is a 2016 Olympian from Cleveland, Ohio. So y'all already know what he's coming with. The problem is he has been in so many contract disputes and so many different. There's been so many business acquisitions that have not worked in his favor that have held him out of the ring. So I just want to make sure y'all know, if you happen to have missed Charles Conwell in the first fight of the night, he legitimately should have been the co-main. I obviously this is in retrospect, but if I personally was lining everything up, I would have looked at who's going to be the most exciting fighter that I know I can count on to be exciting, and it would have been Charles Conwell. If you liked what you saw coming from me, he's a 154 pounder. He's more patient than I am. He puts on calculated pressure. He swings with a lot of power, and he's going for the knockout just about every single round. So, and on top of that, he's got a great gas tank, and not quite as active as me, but active just like I was. You know what I mean? So you see the Cleveland come right out when he gets in the ring. He's training in Toledo. Shout out to Charles Conwell. He best fight in the night outside of the main event fight. So just wanted to shout him out. You guys got anything for Charles Conwell? Bad news?
Yeah. To add into all the things you said about him, his qualities, also quick hands and nice, short, compact shots, really good on the inside. And I think you make a good point, because he was the best fighter on the undercard. Shout out to David Jimenez, too, who won that interim title against Scrappy Ramirez. But Barboza was the co-main. But I definitely got to agree that the best fighter on the undercard was Charles Conwell. And it makes sense. He's the number one ranked WBC contender. Just maybe people haven't heard about him as much because of the opportunities that haven't been put in front of him. And 154 is smoking hot. Like, we got news today that Virgil and Tim Tszyu could be linking up on August 3rd. Fundora just upset Tszyu. Terrence Crawford's new to the division. Boots at any moment could come up. And Errol Spence's at 154 now too. So this is a hot division, and he's just got to hold his position, and he's going to get that opportunity in a big fight. And when he does, win or lose, it's going to be entertaining because the style he brings. And it's not just that he's some entertaining guy. He's a well-schooled guy, an Olympian. So, yeah, I like Charles Conwell. I was happy to see him get some shine.
Yeah. I would like to see him up in there with some guys, but all the guys that I want to see him up in there, like with the Lube and Ramos across the street, the business BS. And obviously, I don't know if that's worth doing business when it's not a big-time fight. So it's like, what do you do with the business? How do you build him? How do you make him a bigger name for the – he's no one at the WBC. But how do you make his name bigger for the WBC title? Because casuals really don't want to see him, be honest.
Yeah.
It's kind of is what it is. So at that point, right now, it looks – I don't know what happened in the last 24 to 48 hours. Look like – we're doing business.
Right.
Look like boxing's doing business right now.
Right.
So keep it up.
Yeah, man. This is exactly what boxing needs.
Yeah.
I think it's right on time. Seeing the main event, Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney get made 3-3 in the amateur ranks, and then they come into the pros and they finally let loose on one another. I think they're both 25 years old, 26 years old. Perfect timing, and to see this now become the new, seems to be trend that's going around in boxing now, where everybody's starting to fight everybody. We just got to keep it going. I really, outside of David Jimenez, I thought he did a fantastic job on fight night. I thought Scrappy was just in a little over his head a little bit too much. Unfortunately, but I think it's unfortunate, but his lack of experience caught up to him much sooner.
That showed, Shawn.
It should have. Yeah. It caught him up. Yeah, it caught him to him. Go ahead, Antt.
I just felt like the guy was he Olympian or had a long
amateur.
Yeah.
And Scrappy was a former MMA fighter.
Yeah, and I think he just jumped into boxing maybe like 5 to 6 years ago, Scrappy. But I didn't realize how important those years of you guys in the amateur really matter, Shawn. And it showed in a fight like that. Like, Scrappy just needs time and experience to beat a guy like that. That's a different style you don't see every day.
Yeah, we got a couple of super chats. I promise I'm going to get to y'all. I screenshotted them so I won't forget them. But I want to get to Garcia and Haney before I answer these. But just real quick to your question, the purpose of the amateur program, you see a lot of different styles. That's first and foremost. If you in this thing and you doing it the right way, you see so many different styles that nothing's really new once you become a pro. The other thing too is you fight in front of big crowds, you fight in front of a lot of people and a lot of people that aren't always on your side. You know what I mean? And so I felt like there were a lot of things coming at Scrappy on fight night that he just wasn't prepared for, and simply because he hasn't had certain experiences, whether it be amateur or pro. The biggest thing to me is he needed to make some adjustments, and he didn't know how to make those adjustments. One thing you can't do as a pro fighter is get people in front of you that have the perfect style for you fight after fight, because once you get brought up on a stage in front of somebody that doesn't have the style that fits your program, now you got to find out whether or not you can make these adjustments. You know what I mean? I know I'm going to tell this story when we get to Devin and Garcia, but this fight right here was even reminiscent of my fight that I had with Kell Brook. No adjustments the entire fight. And we know how that one went for me. No adjustments for Scrappy, and we saw how that one went.
And I thought, like outside of the ring, the story of that fight was Scrappy thought he could punk David Jimenez. And David Jimenez, you were there in Brooklyn, Shawn, at the weigh-in. He took that very personally. It really fired him up. And he made his point, in the fight. And Scrappy still was tough. He took it. He took the fight well, but Jimenez took over, after about the third or fourth round and made his point. And so he walks away with the interim title.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the main, also wanted to shout out Darius Fogram. Remains undefeated. Another good win under his belt. And great kid. Look forward to having him on the podcast yet again. I know we did a live with him. We had him on live the other day, but I want to get him in on the show for a true episode. On to the main event. And what about I like that. How
y'all don't want to touch? You don't want to touch that co-main? I didn't really watch that too much, but the nonsense was real.
What about Sean Puffy McCombs?
Oh,
that's what I call him.
Okay, Sean Puffy McCombs.
Yeah, that's
in a time like this, you call him that still?
I know, right? I couldn't help. It wasn't because of he's doing any of that, but
he told
the public nuisance is what he is. The public nuisance, and that's all he ended up being on Fight Night, was just a nuisance to a Barboza who yet again has a lackluster performance. I got to be honest, y'all, and we don't have to stay on this too long, but
Shawn
I got to now.
Shawn, you called this. You said that last time you wasn't too impressed by his performances.
And I'm questioning, are you really that guy? I had a conversation with him last year. He got jumped over for a chance at a world title, and he was very bothered by the situation. And I said, hey man, when you get out there, man, you just got to show them who they jumped over and show them why. And now this is 2 performances in a row where I haven't seen much from him. So again, man, when you've been in the amateurs, you have so much experience. If you've been paying attention, you know who everybody is. You see in their eyes, you know who they are. See them hit the bag, you see them warm up, you know exactly who they are. This kid, I gotta say it, man. Arnold Barbosa looks like the kid that looks like the part, but when he gets in the ring, he just ain't the guy. This is now 2 performances in a row where he's performed the exact same against lesser competition than where he's ranked at and where he should be performing at. So you can't blame the opponent on this one. You gotta sometimes you gotta take it into your own hands, and he did not do that.
But it is possible too that he's just a solid, very competent, solid, good pro, and he's in a division filled with guys that all have something special about them. Even though Haney lost, he's still on his best night a very, very, very good boxer. But, and Cruz he has that special dimension with his aggression and his explosiveness. Matias with his work rate and his power and his relentlessness, and then Tio with his athleticism and counterpunching. There's nothing wrong with that. Not everyone's gonna be special, great fighter. The sport needs good, competent, solid pros too, and that's what I think Barboza is, and that was a controversial decision, but he's earned his way to his ranking. He's not a guy with a huge star appeal, so he's just got to continue to put wins on the board until he gets his title shot he's looking for. But the sport needs guys comprised of that too. Not everyone's going to be superstar, special, multiple division champion. So That's what I would say about that.